It's Reviews Day, the day I tell you what I think about things, and today was going to be a really special day where I was going to do the very first episode of Reviews Day Live, where I was going to do a live stream commentary on one of my favorite movies of all time, but I've run into some technical difficulties and it's just not going to work out, but I do still want to record this commentary today because today is still a very special day. Today, August 8th, just happens to be the 35th anniversary of the theatrical release of Transformers the Movie, 1986. And I can't tell you, you know what? At this point, I should normally throw up the digital version of the poster here, but I did say I was going to do this live, so let's do it live. Transformers the Movie, 1986. Right about there. How about that? I think that's going to work. As long as it doesn't fall down mid-movie. So yeah, I cannot tell you how much I love this movie. I absolutely adore it. I mean, I own 4 different copies of this movie on DVD or Blu-ray. And there's another one that came out this year that I haven't got around to picking up yet. Because it's only available in Steelbook so far. But I'm going to pick up just the regular version in the fall when it comes out separately in September for some reason. But yeah, I do own 4 different versions of this on DVD or Blu-ray, and you can't get rid of any of them because they've got all different special features on them. So if you want to watch this cool special feature, you gotta pop out a different disc. So yeah, can't get rid of any of those and just gotta keep adding to it every 5 or 10 years whenever they put out a new version. Stick those there for now. We do have the complete animated series on DVD in the big anniversary collector's edition box set with the Matrix on there. And then up here is actually season 1 from one of the old original DVD releases, one of the prized possessions in my Transformers collection, as it has been signed by Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, Optimus Prime and Megatron from the original series, respectively. And yeah, they were a delight to meet and get that signed a couple of years ago. So yeah, we're going to get down to the movie. I'm going to start watching. I will let you know exactly when the movie starts. You can sync that up. I will try and put a link in the description below with a different version of the movie that you can watch online. I believe there is a couple out there. And we will get started. Hold, please. And, here we go. So, warning, there will be spoilers in this episode of Reviews Day, because I am going to be talking throughout the entire movie. But let's be honest, this movie is in fact 35 years old as of today, and, you know, spoilers, there's got to be some kind of expiry date on them eventually, right? Here we go. Movie starts. So yeah, this is where we're first seeing Unicron. Just this giant, floating, menacing planet. And the music that's in the background is just chilling. So we've got this overshot of a city, all kinds of vehicles flying around. We got some robots. They don't quite look like, you know, the Autobots or Decepticons, the Cybertronians that we're used to. We're seeing these very alien-looking robots that we've never seen before. I did also want to mention that I made sure to get myself some supplies. The closest thing I could get to a nice pinkish purple Energon drink is some nice grape soda. So we've just heard the name Unicron, and now we're seeing just the scale of just this massive planet is literally eating this other planet. Like, just the size of that would be mind-blowing. And, like, we have no idea what this is. You know, we've been watching all these cartoons with Autobots and Decepticons and Prime and Megatron, and never really all that much new. Not a lot of really deep lore and things coming out of surprise, and all of a sudden we're getting this. There's literally a planet being eaten by another planet. This is just so different than anything you would have seen in the series up until this point. And I've got to imagine watching this when it first came out, not knowing what's going on, who any of these people are, and not knowing what's going on, just wondering, especially a young kid, like, where's Prime? Where's Bumblebee? On this very cool lighting effect on the rings of Unicron kind of thing. He's got like this halo that he just like charged up eating the planet. And now the theme song, but done in the 80th ways possible by a big hair metal band. But it's just such a rocking version of the soundtrack. Transformers, the movie. Oh, that's a pretty trippy 2001 Space Odyssey kind of space tunnel. And the cast in this movie, I mean, the cast in this movie is absolutely insane. Just what a list of people. Eric Idle from Monty Python. Judd Nelson, I mean, from The Breakfast Club. How 80s can you really get? Leonard Nimoy, of course, as Galvatron, this character that we've also never heard of. Just like, who is that? Robert Stack as Ultra Magnus, the Unsolved Mysteries guy, and again as another character we've never met. Like, yeah, all these credits, and I mean, yeah, Orson Welles, the last role that he ever was in, just mind-blowing for film people. Of course, all the kids watching this movie had absolutely no idea who any of these people were. So weird, so bizarre. It is the year 2005, by the way. Man, so Vince DiCola did the score for this movie. Just see his credits on the screen there. He is criminally underrated. The score for this movie is pretty fantastic. The synths and everything work really, really well. We finally see a character that we are familiar with. Laserbeak has just shown up, spying on some mining operation or something. There we go. Optimus Prime and Ironhide. Both voiced by Peter Cullen, which was pretty incredible. I mean, that guy could do so many different voices and characters, as so can Frank Welker. It's funny, the old series was just so rooted in the energy crisis of the 80s that every week the episode was about Megatron's new scheme to steal energy from somewhere to make Energon cubes. Scatman Crothers as Jazz. Oh, here's Bumblebee. And so now we're seeing Spike as an adult. I mean, in the cartoon, he was a teenager. He was like the viewer equivalent, and their perspective. And now we've got Spike in some robot suit. Like, is he a cyborg? He's talking about his son. What? When did Spike have a son? Man, so many big names in here too. Like even just from the original cast, like Scatman Crothers, Casey Kasem. Scatman Crothers was in The Shining. I never had Soundwave or any of the original cassettes, but absolutely loved them. Oh, throwing shade at Starscream with that. Just, wow. You know, they always had that rivalry, but just serious shade. We, we're already seeing a repeat scene of footage. The footage that Laserbeak shot spying on Prime just got played back to Megatron. Like, we didn't just see it. And here we go. And this is where this movie gets real. Man. Just break into the ship. Megatron just screaming, die, Autobots. Turns into his gun. Starscream just, bam. just killed Brawn. Like, man, they just get right to it. Like, we've 2 dead. There goes Ratchet. Or sorry, that was Prowl. Like, now we got Ratchet and Ironhide going down. Like, these aren't minor characters. These are important characters from the show. Like, Ironhide was basically Prime's right-hand man. And just slaughtered. Just calls him an idiot. Just flat out, just shut up. Oh, Ironhide's still holding out. And then just one more blast straight to the head from his arm cannon. Like, damn. And we've got this new human character, Daniel, fishing with a robot. Fishing with an Autobot. Come on. Man, this soundtrack just keeps going. Like, there's a great song in, like, every scene. The kid gets a hoverboard. I wanted a hoverboard. And what was Back to the Future? I guess not the first one, but the second one, Back to the Future 2, the hoverboards. What is it about the 80s and hoverboards that we never got it? Like, what a car! Like, that is a hot looking car. Most generic named mountain, Lookout Mountain. Come on. What a jerk, just crashing right through the barricade. I'm pretty sure Hot Rod transforms differently every single scene. Like, the order of his limbs and everything moving, different every time. I love that he had to put down like a special eye visor there to be able to zoom in, as if his robot eyes couldn't just zoom in. Blitzwing there, the triple changer jet tank robot. I've probably owned that 3 different times, and for some reason I never actually have the tank turret. But Blitzwing was actually my online namesake way back when I was first getting onto the internet, signing up for eBay and stuff like that. In fact, Blitzwing is still some of my usernames on various websites. Back in the day when all the good names were gone, I'm looking around my room and there's a Blitzwing action figure there. And I mean, how cool of a concept are the triple changers? Autobots or Transformers are cool enough already. Robot toy, robot car, that's why they did so well. But then they came out with triple changers that still looked good. You got a robot a tank and a jet. There's Astro Train, a robot, a space shuttle, and a train. Like, how cool is that to be able to get 3 different things? Perceptor, the actual working microscope. I always wanted that. Never had that one though. A lot of people thought he was lame, but he looks cool. And now just a whole slew of new characters. We got Springer, Ultra Magnus, RC, and Blur to go along with Perceptor. It's like, who are all of these people? could never do Blur's scripts. Like couldn't talk that quickly. And yeah, here we have RC, the first female Transformer, and it's so funny that they're clearly robots that were all men, I guess. So they've now introduced a female character. Absolutely had a crush on her when I was a kid. I was always confused as a kid. So there's Autobot City, but in the cartoons and everything like that, there's Metroplex and Fortress Maximus, these other robot cities. But this just seems like another random generic city. It doesn't seem alive. It just happens to transform. It's so weird. Like, is this Metroplex? Is it supposed to be Metroplex, or is it just a different city? Oh man, could you imagine Starscream just having to shoot his own foot off to get free from there? The transformation of this city is so random and just how does it change color? It's nonsensical. The Insecticons, I had those when I was a kid, coming in and just chewing at the walls. And weird food puns. But they only shows two of the Insecticons. But there was always three. The grasshopper? Oh no, that's... I don't know. The beetle is missing. What kind of car is Cup? It's this weird El Camino weird car truck thing. I never had Blaster either, but I always had a couple of friends that did. Everyone, the weird, magical, shrinking sound wave goes from a 20-foot tall robot to a Walkman that can fit in your pocket. Even as a kid, I questioned that. It's all of Soundwave's little cassette minions were in the original series, except for just randomly they throw in Ratbat into this one, who wasn't ever in the cartoon. Or at least not up to this point. And then there's all the Autobot Transformers, and I honestly, the Autobot cassettes, I don't think I could name any of them. I don't know any of their names. I feel a little bit bad about that, to be honest. I can name all the Soundwaves. Man, I don't understand how he can talk that fast. I talk fast, but that's crazy. Ugh, just Wheeljack dead too. We don't even see him. Dies off screen. I had a Springer toy. Helicopter, weird hovercraft thing. Or weird space sports car helicopter. I don't know. It was a cool toy. And then RC. RC never got a proper toy. Probably the same kind of boys don't want girl toys or something like that. This is why introduce the character. But she didn't get a proper toy for years and years and years. And even then, they would usually make her some kind of motorcycle or something that didn't look anything like her. There is finally a new Marvel Masterpieces figure. It looks really good. devastator. Who didn't want those Constructicons? 6 robots to turn into one? Amazing. He's the only combiner that shows up. That's kind of weird. Always thought that was odd. Like, how come they didn't get one of the other combiners to fight him? But he was the best one. He was the most famous. Those lasers aren't going anywhere. Just like arching over this city. Damn, that city got messed up. Let the slaughter begin? I mean, come on, this is a kid's movie. Let the slaughter begin. Another weird absence. There's only 4 out of the 5 Dinobots. Like, what is it? The Stegosaurus? Snarl? Is missing? I love that. If you watch that, oh man, when a Sludge gets hit there on the head, his eyes like bug out of his skull like a cartoon. It cracks me up every time. They don't do that in like any other scene, in anything, but there they do for the weirdest, like, so bizarre. Here we go. For those who dig the soundtrack as much as I do, this is the song, the scene, the touch. Man. What an intro. Ah, Swoop's just like crushed on the ground there. Love the shot of the reflection on the grill. Actually steers him down. Now that's how you make an entrance. Man, you know what I would love to see? I would love to see this fight completely redone with live people, like as an actual hand-to-hand fight. The choreography of this fight is amazing. Ugh, it's all Hot Rod's fault, right? Like, impetuous little young punk getting in the way. As a kid, I always kind of thought that was a big jagged rock that he speared into Prime, but it's probably just like it's a chunk of metal from the city itself. Always wondered how a rock could have made that much damage. But and then like Megatron's got a laser sword. What? Is this all these things that show up in this that never showed up in the show before or since? Ugh, this is all your fault, Hot Rod. If you just stayed out of it. Yeah, so as a kid, I saw that wrong, and I interlaced my fingers when doing that hit to like a friend in a play fight one time. Yeah, don't do that. That hurts the knuckles. Notice years later that he's actually holding his fists kind of like that. to that big double uppercut thing. Always loved that move. Hence why I tried it. It almost broke my fingers. Oh, kicks him while he's down. I mean, Astro Train, so cool. He's like this big old style locomotive, but then also a space shuttle. With the toy, you could do this weird, funky half transmission, so he looked more like a train with wings. But how big is he that they could all fit inside of him like this? Like, again, I love the crazy, like, magic dimension size changing that all of these guys seem to be able to do. Ugh. And now the scene that everybody remembers. I'll try not to cry. But man, this music, this scene, it's very emotional. I do admit I did not see this in theater as a kid. I was still a little bit too young. But I think we had like a bootleg VHS tape from the rich kid in town that had a double VCR that we watched until it broke and wore out. Like, watched this over and over again as a kid. And this scene every time, man. But yeah, I do wish that I could have seen it in theater. I'm hoping one of these anniversaries. They keep showing it down in the States in theaters. None of the theaters that I know of up here are showing it. I would love that. And like, what's this? I'm gonna pass the matrix of leadership? We have no idea what this is at this point. He's got some weird prophecy now. There's always some chosen one who has unleashed their special power. There's always got to be a prophecy, right? Do you know anybody that's got a prophecy in their life? Like a real prophecy? Like, come on. It is pretty, though. I do love The Matrix. Pretty weird rites of succession, the way this ends up working out. Like, don't just gotta say the words, all the action's gotta be just right. Like, take my beating heart from my chest, and you get to stick it in your chest, and that means you're the leader now. What? You know, like a heart rate monitor thing going on here. The light from his eyes. And then what? Like he rots and decays and turns black all of a sudden? I always expected one of his head spikes to crack and break off there. I actually thought it did do that. I remember it wrong. Mandela effect, I guess. And again, we're getting reused footage again already. And how is this giant robot planet seeing this on all of these monitors? First of all, the monitors are inside of it. But where is it getting that footage from? Astro Train needs them to jettison some weight because it's too heavy to fly through space. It's not just Autobots that died. A bunch of Decepticons died too. Looks like all the Insecticons, a couple of Seekers, and, of course, Megatron. Should have Probably made sure he was dead, seeing as he just launched him into space and it's not like he needs air. Of course. A compelling argument. Unchrosmatic. There's not gonna be room inside for this guy. Like, there's no way. Just like they just said. Just death and destruction floating through space. So we get introduced to Unicron at the beginning, and we don't see him again for like 25 more minutes into the movie. We're now 30 minutes into the movie. Also a wildly inconsistent sizing. This planet ate another planet, and now Megatron looks like he could walk all the way around it in, a matter of minutes. But how? You exaggerate. And then, yeah, like this interior of Unicron looks weirdly techno-organic. Like, there's these moving, breathing, pulsating parts. You don't see that in anybody else. They're all circuits. What is he? Greedy. Proceed to oblivion. Like, just so casual. Alright, I changed my mind. Just die already. This is such a cool scene. The effects, the wire framing, everything about this is... I loved this as a kid, the way this looked. This weird purple wire frame. Yeah. And that's an upgrade. Like, he looks so awesome. The sweeps. Cyclonus was also very cool looking. And just hearing Leonard Nimoy as this villainous, evil man, it's so weird being a big Star Trek fan as a kid too, and realizing that those are the same person, Spock and Galvatron. Crazy, just what a good voice he has for this character too. The coronation. Now, like, Astrotrain is smaller than Starscream. How is he carrying them all inside of him? Oh, brilliant. That's a pretty nice crown. It's a pretty fancy crown. That's the kind of crown I'd want. Big purple cape. I dig it. I can get down with that. What? Turns into a cannon and just disintegrates him. Like, he got him after all these years of betrayal and backstabbing. No hesitation, just no negotiation. Just blows him away, disintegrates into dust. Ah, but the poor crown though. And that's definitely one way to lay claim to the title of ruler. Yep, I wouldn't be messing with him either. That toy sucked though. And that was a good change with all this stuff with changing gun laws and stuff, so you couldn't have the Megatron toy anymore. Instead of him being a tank, they just turned him into this cool cannon thing. And it was pretty cool, but the toy was awful. The toy was just terrible. Ugh, that city though. It didn't sound very faint. Oh, a pretty famous moment in the movie coming up here. Didn't know about it as a kid. So, coming up here is a swear word. Gasp! These there's this swear that famously in earlier broadcasts was edited out. I think even the first version of the DVD I have, I think, is edited and blanked out. And there are actually two instances in this movie of a swear being edited out. This is the main one. They drop the S word. Oh, scandal. And there's another scene later as well that I'm pretty sure was edited. And yeah, and it was a big deal when it got released again, got a re-release on DVD that actually included the unedited version. I remember back in the early internet days learning about all this stuff that you didn't know. So they're trying to escape. How do you escape? You turn the whole planet into a bomb. Yeah, that should probably work. Bomb goes off. Everybody celebrates. Yes, we did it. We're safe. Until the smoke clears. Oh, oh. Again, this is a children's show. He's swearing. It's a pretty mild swear, but still. That would have blown my mind as a kid if I'd seen that when I was like 9 years old, 6 years old. I didn't see that version until years later, but read about it. And that guy's powerful. He can attack Galvatron from across the galaxy just by sending out this energy ray, I guess. Because he helped build them, I guess? He's got some kind of connection? No, but I think the Stegosaurus was just right there. But he wasn't there earlier. Yeah, is. Yeah, definitely there. Where was he before? That's hilarious. The sweeps or swoop or whatever, his head just like pops up out of his spaceship mode and just goes back in. This weird mashup. Like, what kind of power does Blur have that he's able to move in literally a blurring fashion? Why can the T-Rex breathe fire? Actually, looks like all of them are breathing fire. Weird. Dinosaurs couldn't breathe fire. I don't know why, but I always associated Cup with DeForest Kelley, Doc McCoy from Star Trek. They're not the same. They're not voiced at all. But for some reason, I always just kind of felt that they were really similar in characters. The Autobot ship is pretty cool looking. Springer was always pretty cool. Just clock swoop. Sorry, don't mind me while I eat some licorice here. It's very sticky. Very good, though. Now, Hot Rod's got a shield and a sword. How come this never shows up in the show or later in the movie? He's got a laser sword and a big shield. And just like a random training bot. Pardon me while I clean my fingers here. Inverted polarities. It's like reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. I do love that they still kept the overall design of Megatron. He still has that blaster on his arm, which nobody else has anything like that. I mean, I guess like Perceptor's got his shoulder, but just love the big orange glowy cannon. Makes more sense than the scope that became his blaster on his arm in the originals. What a weird looking planet. It's like, how many planets in the solar system or in the universe are robotic like this? Like Cybertron, there's the planet that got blown up earlier. Unicron's a planet. Now they're crashing onto another planet that's all made out of metal and machinery. Where's all the organics? Like, is Earth the only organic planet? Oh, damn, they just blew up the whole shuttle. All those other Autobots that they just introduced are dead now, too. And for some reason, Unicron's pissed again. And now he's got to go see him again to have a discussion. They don't have, like, long-range transmissions. Unicron can see these television sets from across the galaxy, but he can't just, like, talk to Galvatron. Be like, hey, do this thing. Wasting time because they're getting away. Ultra Magnus just so impatient with his long-winded explanations. I got robot fish eating not robot fish. Or are those also robot fish? Like, you think of like robotic tentacle, like kelp and seaweed. Like, how is there so much robotic life out there? That seems pretty unlikely. Unless that's just where we all evolve to eventually. Upload our consciousness into robots. Continuing the tradition of seeing features that never get used again. Buzzsaw for a hand. Just like the Energon battle axe that Prime had in the very first miniseries of the cartoon. Megatron's ball and chain. Giant squid. Does it transform? I don't know. There's just so many ridiculously disjointed scenes in this movie, but they're all so action-packed that you don't even really notice that none of it makes any sense. So, I mean, this movie came out in 1986. It had a budget of like just under $6 million. It made back basically the exact amount. It's a huge flop, really, mostly because of the outrage of killing off all these main characters, including Prime, outrage and fan letters and complaints from parent groups. But as time went on, VHS and home releases, it got popular, and then, yeah, it got popular again when the Michael Bay movies came out. I will not be doing a review on those movies. I cannot stand them. I've only ever watched the first two, and after the first two, I swore them off and will never go back. At least that's what I've been telling myself. One of these days I might have to, but for now, this is the only movie that matters. And it's like, so all these planets are made out of metal and robotics, but they've still got water? Like, where's the water? Why would they even have water? And this is just like the top shell of a planet? Not a good landing. Dude, like, all of this junk looks like it's made out of metal. There's a Pokemon pose there. Let's spin around. I choose you. Man, I wanted one of these exosuits so bad, but I was so confused as to how it would even work. But man, it looks fun. I mean, once he gets the hang of it. And just right into a flip, like, come on. What a weird concept. But I mean, I guess it makes sense. We got our plastic garbage patch, and we've got all our landfills, so it makes sense that space would have a landfill. But again, more robotic life, more Transformers that we've never seen. What species are this? They're not Autobots or Decepticons. And he's got facial hair? How does this robot have facial hair? So many things, just nonsensical. Pretty famous part here. I should have started my video with this. The universal greeting. Ba weep grana weep ninibong. Ninibong, minibong, biddybong. An Energon goodie. Well, that's what I've got. I don't have licorice. I have Energon goodies. It's about the same thing, right? The sticky, slimy licorice. Yeah, ba weep grana weep ninny bong. What is that? Weird alligator things. Something else that I don't think there was ever a toy of. And then these guys. The Quintessons. What are they even? Like, all of these things are weird tentacle... What is going on? Oh. Innocent. Innocent, and then they execute him. That's creepy. Kranix. Oh, and he's from the planet that you see in the intro. He's the one guy who got away before Unicron ate it. like, kudos, Kang. Innocent again. And executed. That makes a whole lot of sense. What happens if he's guilty? If they actually find somebody guilty? Do they get to just go free? Like, are they backwards? Or does it have worse execution? Brutal. Yeah, and again, no Stegosaurus. What weird insults. Cesium salami, beryllium bologna. You see, me and my brother used to throw those at each other every once in a while. Wheelie. I had this toy. Very lame toy. The transformations were just so simple and basic. But a cool car. Little cool car. Oh. A slingshot? Like, what is this, Bart Simpson? Although this predates The Simpsons. Dennis the Menace, I guess. Unicron's back, finally. Another 20 or 30 minutes into the movie. 20 minutes. Seriously, this could have been done in a... This didn't need to be a meeting, this could have been an email. Flies across the galaxy to get told to go back to where he just was. Meanwhile, giving them time to prepare to escape. Email, man. A text. Man, these guys just can't catch a break. They get fought on the city, they get shot down onto the sky. Now they're being attacked by Ultra Galvatron again. Yeah, attacked in the city again. Shot down by Galvatron, and now attacked by Galvatron again. Guess you don't need to worry about repairing it anymore. The shuttle, that is. What terrible protectors. They throw him in this suit and then just leave him on his own. RC and Blur just take off on this poor kid. Doesn't know what he's doing. But then he figures it out. Man, I wanted one of those. Try and unleash the power of the Matrix. Something you have no idea how to do. God, couldn't put any instructions in there? Oh yeah, there was the other swear. Damn it. Okay, damn it as a swear. But that was edited out too, once upon a time. How sensibilities have changed, eh? I mean, frickin' Ultra Magnus gets blown up. you know you're evil when you're betraying the person who just set you up for life. Quintesson's another thing that never really got a toy released until many, many, many years later. Why would they be called Sharkticons? First of all, they don't look like sharks. They got arms and legs and spiky tails. The Hunger, one of two songs on the soundtrack by unknown band Spectre General, also known as Kick-Axe, heavy metal band out of Regina, Saskatchewan, had their name changed on the soundtrack for reasons that no one's officially made known. There's a bunch of different stories, but so ridiculous. One of my favorite versions is that the name Kick-Axe was deemed to be too violent. Pretty cool using the tail as a weapon. Knocked his teeth out. Oh, tears his face right off. Nothing. So many things from this movie. Considering this movie was made to sell new toys, there's so many things from this movie that never got figures. The Quintessons, the Sharkticons, the weird alligator things, this tentacle guy, RC, Kranix. Like, there's so many of these characters that never got toys. The main ones: Hot Rod, Blur, Cup, Springer, Wheelie, Wreck-Gar, the Junkions. They all got toys. Galvatron, Ultra Magnus. But so many of these, I guess, secondary characters didn't. And then, of course, yeah, the one that upset me most, and a lot of people, I think, was RC. She's such a big part of the movie, and she never got a toy for years. What? We can do that? We've never thought of that before. Although that one of the brand new characters is blown into pieces. And now they're getting attacked again? And why are these guys even attacking? Rude. But I mean, you can't not love Weird Al. I feel like I had a Wreck-Gar action figure as a kid. We always definitely had more Transformers than we had He-Man. Although G.I. Joe we had the most of, but they were so much cheaper. Yeah, like there's so many of them. You're screwed. Springer's got a sword. I think his helicopter blades turned into the sword for the toy. Just clocks him over the head with an eye beam. Weird spinning corkscrew ship. They just happen to have more Energon snacks. Thought they ran out. Gibberish. But now let's have a dance party. You guys don't have better things to be working on? Like Bumblebee in the Michael Bay talking radio. Okay, this always bugged the hell out of me, though. All those other Autobots get one or two blaster shots and they're dead. They're gone. Prime gets shot up and gouged up, but he's just dead. Ultra Magnus gets blown into like 6 parts. All of his limbs just torn apart, and a little bit of turtle wax puts him back together. Like, I feel like they gave up on Prime just a little bit too easily. They are robots after all. Come on. Why? Like, that's not fair. Always loved the Ultra Magnus toy, or at least the concept of it. Just the plain truck that was actually the same truck as Optimus Prime, with his car carrier trailer, turning into this big battle armor. It was always very cool. But it was always kind of weird was there's a version of his name that is Citizen Stack. I think it's like a copyright thing or a Japanese only thing or something. Citizen Stack, like Robert Stack who did the voice. It was always kind of weird. There's like there's Delta Magnus as well, who's like a different color scheme. Again, that's a toy I never had. That one was always a little bit more expensive. Always wanted that one though. The whole trailer turning into body armor thing was just so cool. It's wearing it around his neck like Flava Flav in a clock with this big chain. And here we go. We are 67 minutes into the movie, and we're finally learning that Unicron is not just a planet. Its final form, true form, revealed. And again, no toy ever made. At least for many, many years. There was prototypes, but never took it out. They never put it out. There was one a number of years ago, about 20 years ago. That was pretty good, and even for the price, it was a pretty good. Recently, Hasbro, through their like crowdfunding program, built just this massive, almost 3 foot across Unicron. But it was like $600 Canadian or more. It was crazy expensive, but man, I would love to have it. But this guy is just so awesome looking. Again, he's got a beard. How does this robot have a beard? And now he's just tearing Cybertron apart. Shockwave doesn't do much. Always so many Seekers, like jets. Just so many of the just generic jets. You know, there was always a few that had names, but there was always so many more that just showed up in the background. Into the belly of the beast. Literally. Breathes blue fire like Godzilla. Oh, that's a mistake. But again, Galvatron was basically the size of Unicron's mouth, and that was an entire ship carrying half a dozen other Autobots through his eyeball with room to spare. No, scale's all messed up. And again, is this robotic? Is this organic? What is going on inside of this robot? This giant robot planet? Still trying to betray him. I always loved that Galvatron kind of had a bit of a crown. For future show, obviously they weren't going to be able to get Leonard Nimoy back for the TV series to voice Galvatron, so Frank Welker, the voice of Megatron, just came back and did the new version of the character in the TV show. And he was insane in the show. Not just like, I'm the bad guy, but like, he was nuts. What a dumb pun. Meet Grimlock kick butt. Literally drop kicks him in the butt. Turn into your car again. And he's just full of water too? What is What is going on? What does any of this have to do with anything? Why? Why would he have these flailing hooks? Why would he have all this organic stuff and these random spikes and vats of water enough to wash people away like a raging river? Like, what is the biology of this thing? And then there's these giant vats of acid just dropping other robots into, like... Gross. Just melting them down. Rude. You mean you had a gun this whole time? So we just saw somebody who just got eaten in this fight get melted down, but Spike and Bumblebee and Jazz, who were on a different planet that was eaten 20 minutes ago, is fine. Like they weren't eaten yet. Pardon me. This drives up, does a loop-de-loop on the wall, because physics is a thing. This is a good fight, but I think it could have been better if the music was better. Like the fight between Optimus and Megatron with the touch, that music made the fight. I think a better song for this fight would have been good. Oh no, all these characters that we never knew are now dead. Don't feel bad about those ones. But here it comes again. Aw, he's the chosen one. Just throws him through a wall, flies off into space, and we don't see him again in the movie. How do you know that that's what you're supposed to do? The MacGuffin. Gotta love a good MacGuffin device. Just blowing him apart from the inside while all of his friends are inside. Aw, cliff jumper's safe. Bumblebee, for having been one of the most popular characters in the cartoon, is basically not in this movie, but he's not even one of the ones that they kill off. And he goes from being this super cool sports car to like this weird minivan sports trailer. What is that? Like, it's this weird like Winnebago sports car thing. What a weird thing. But they did manage to put out a Hot Rod toy and a Rodimus Prime toy, which were the same car, but just with a trailer, and I think a slightly different paint job. Half of the DVD covers spoil the fact that he ends up headless. Okay, not half. And there we go. That is the Transformers the movie, 1986, for its 35th anniversary. Full-length commentary for Reviews Day Live. I hope you enjoyed your time with me. There goes Unicron's head floating around. And, yeah. And that theme song by Lion again. Oh, and they do the cast in alphabetical order. Michael Bell has 4 credits. Corey Burton is 3. Peter Cullen is 2. It was very common, especially in the older cartoons, for voice actors to have 4, 5, 6 different credits to the same show to their name. Neil Ross has 4 there. Frank Welker with 6 in this movie by himself. Yeah, so there we go. I absolutely love this movie. I'm glad you guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you stuck around, popped in and out, checked out different parts of it. I am sorry that this didn't get to be the live reviews day that I originally planned, but still going to watch this movie for its anniversary, 35 years. I can't tell you how many times I've watched this movie. And there is actually a new 4K Steelbook out last week. The 4K transfer will be out on regular, not Steelbook edition in September. That's probably the one I'm going to pick up. I'm not crazy about the Steelbook. But, yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'll probably do this again once in a while, something else. Other movies that I love a lot, and just have random stuff to talk about, I guess. But if you are interested, I did an episode of a friend's radio show on called 4 Color Radio, where he discusses movie soundtracks to movies based on comic books, and we did do an episode on this last week for the Transformers the movie soundtrack, where I just talked more specifically about the soundtrack itself. I'll put a link for that below as well. Jay Bardyla and 4 Color Radio. And yeah, let me know if there's any other movies that you might like to see a full-length commentary for. Whether or not I'll try and do the live thing again sometime for a different movie. But yeah, unfortunately that didn't work out, but here was the full-length commentary for the Transformers the movie from 1986. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend you watch it. It is available on YouTube, or you can borrow one of my copies, and then we can talk about it all the time. Have a good night. I'm Phill The Thrill. That's what I think about that thing, and I'll see you next Reviews Day.